all the time on this. And joining me right now is one of the groups that probably does, I would say, probably the best job I know of anybody of rallying the troops and getting the word out. It's the Gun Owners of America. Larry Pratt joins us right now. Hey, Larry, how are you?
Tom, thanks so much. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. Now, I saw a story recently that you guys put out, and I got to tell you, it kind of caught me by surprise. I had not been watching this one. Something about the ATF and the FBI merging. What is that about?
It's something that periodically pops up. It's, I guess, something, a desire within the bureaucracy to aggrandize bureaucrat power. It's not something that we've been favorably disposed toward. It was billed as an effort to get rid of the ATF in my dreams.
You're right.
All it is moving it over to make it an office, a department within the Department of Justice, the FBI. It would be harder, in our opinion, to hold the ATF accountable. Not that they're held that much to account, but it would be even harder because they would be part of a larger entity. And even though Waco should have tarnished forever the FBI's reputation, I think they probably have a somewhat more favorable impression among people than does the ATF. And I think that may be part of the desire to move the ATF over there, one of optics.
In a way, what you're talking about is maybe giving the ATF some political cover by wrapping them up in this aura of legitimacy that comes with being associated or being part of the FBI.
I think that puts it exactly the way we see it possibly ending up. And we just don't think that's a good idea. The ATF needs to be done away with lock, stock, and barrel. It's unconstitutional. It's killed lots of people. It's not accountable even as a separate entity, let alone if it were to be merged in a larger one. The good that they do is only measurable in terms of actually catching real bad guys, apart really from gun crime. So if what we need is more money for police departments, let's leave the money at the state level so the states can beef up the state and local police expenditures. But for goodness sakes, let's stop bringing money to Washington, concentrating power in Washington, where there's no constitutional authority for police powers here other than maybe a Secret Service police power over monetary fraud, postal fraud. That is in the Constitution. But otherwise, let's get the big eraser out and get to work.
Well, a lot of people probably are not really aware of the history. Of course, we've been around this a long time. We remember when ATF was part of Treasury, and it was essentially created to help, if you will, acquire taxes or make sure that taxes get paid.
And there still is a tax division within the ATF that collects taxes on firearms and so forth. So, yeah, you got it right.
But that got changed, and now it is part of the Justice Department. Who is pushing this possible merger, and is it really happening? I mean, is there discussion in Congress?
Hopefully, it's only a bad idea surfacing periodically without a whole lot of oomph behind it. But I can remember when the Democrats controlled the Congress, this was also a matter that was before the Congress, and there are forces within the government itself that are going to resist it. So it's not exactly as if it were a slam dunk. But I think it gives us the opportunity to do what we're doing now and to remind people that this is a rogue agency, that this has killed a lot of people, that it does things it's not supposed to do. It regularly and often breaks the law. It conceals evidence. It tampers with evidence. They belong in jail.
We actually have them on tape telling their agents how to lie in court when they're testifying.
We do. It was
right?
a training seminar.
All right, so, and I know there are people who are going to say, well, certainly there must be some good ATF agents out there, and they must be doing some good.
Absolutely. It's just that they shouldn't be working in the ATF. They should be working in a real law enforcement entity like the XYZ State Police Agency.
What is, in your view, what is the actual role or goal? How does the ATF see itself?
I guess if you had to get them to give you one sentence, it would be to keep illegal guns off the street. lots of luck, guys.
All right, I'm going to throw a curve at you. I got to ask you another question here because I'm looking at your website, and GOA gets out a lot of good information about what's going on in Congress. And one of the things that I see there, and I'd just like for you to touch on, is a lot of our folks, the gun folks, say, well, we're against the Democrats, we're for the Republicans. And I keep saying, guys, either one of them will stab you in the back in a heartbeat. And you probably do the best job of anybody of documenting that.
The Republican leadership is so completely feckless. The only thing they have done well is to enable the Democrat agenda of President Obama. But any of the things that you and I would like to see on a Second Amendment agenda be moved, not on your life. Well, somebody will object. The president will just veto it. Really? When they wanted to get rid of the ban on guns in national parks, they put the measure as an amendment to a spending bill that was viewed as must pass. We got rid of the ban. Absolutely can be done.
If there's a will, there's a way. But right now we're not seeing any will.
No will at all. The Republicans ought to be causing great rejoicing at whatever handgun control is called now. This is a matter of real concern that the Republicans have shown us what they'll do when they have control of the Congress. Pretty disappointing. The only thing I can see them doing well is if there were a Republican president, Senator Cruz, Governor Walker, somebody that has a backbone. Then I can see the Republicans passing things because they'd be following their leader.
Exactly. So as a long-term observer of all of this, is there any good news out there?
I think that if the Republican leadership could be urged enough by grassroots to move on a bill to make concealed carry a national measure. So if you have a concealed carry bill, a permit in one state, it'd be like your driver's license, and you could take it anywhere, same as your driver's license. That could pass as a spending amendment. And we probably ought to focus on the Republican leadership and the Republican caucus to in turn focus on pressure the Republican leadership to do something on that measure. The votes are there to get it through the Congress, and I'm pretty sure that if that were on the Health and Human Services budget, the President would very likely sign it.
All right, in the presidential election, we're looking at better than a dozen Republicans running right now. So, I mean, we know that we've got everybody from Chris Christie, who's just a Democrat,
right,
with an R next to his name, all the way across to Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, and I'm starting to like Scott Walker, I got to tell you. Is it possible for gun rights to become an issue in this that we can use to weed out some of these folks?
Frankly, I think of the three that you mentioned, they're all good on guns, and it would be to their advantage to articulate a platform that includes what they would like to see done with firearms. It would help them get votes. It happens that it is a very good issue with the Republican base, but it also appeals to those so-called Reagan Democrats. Basically, those are Republicans that don't want to call themselves Republicans because they're so ticked off with the Republican Party. And you could bring them back on issues such as firearms. That's what I see those three guys able to do because they're not afraid of the issue. They've articulated well and acted well on the issue.
Well, I appreciate that, Larry. Now, obviously, Gun Owners of America, how long has GOA been in existence?
We're approaching our fourth decade.
Wow. And the website is gunowners.org. You can get information, and I encourage people to sign up for your newsletter because you're always sending out good information.
Yeah, those alerts that you can get for free are where the action takes place. That's where you get an embedded email. You can send it to your member of Congress. And that's how we get things done in Congress. They get enough of those, and they realize, got to do something.
It's like that old line in politics, when they feel the heat, they see the light. Larry, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Don't go far. Gun Talk will be right back.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from